Welcome to Saturday Sport. Earlier this week, broadcasting personality Nick Jeffrey accepted the position of CEO Cycling Southland. You know the voice. Now let's meet the man in charge of one of the fastest growing sports organisations in the province. Well, Nick, congratulations. What a super opportunity to step into with a blossoming sport such as cycling.
Yeah, no question, Tom. I mean, just amped as you'd be, and really keen to get into the opportunity. So, yeah, look, it's probably caught a few by surprise, to be fair, because it's quite a big jump to go from 16 years in radio, then suddenly into a sports administration job. But, it's exciting times for the sport. It's a wonderful house we've got here, that we're filming in on the ILT Velodrome. And I guess there's just so much untapped potential there that we can start tapping into, which is it's going to be exciting times.
I'll start with your career. Everyone knows the voice, very well-known broadcaster, but tell us about perhaps the commercial background that might set you in good stead here.
Yeah, I guess that's the area that they probably looked at, I presume, in terms of when the appointment was made. It's I guess my experience is obviously, as I said, in radio. I fell out of high school into a job 16 years ago when a couple of likely lads purchased Hokanui Gold up the road in Gore. So I've been involved with that operation in a hands-on role. And I guess the last 5 years it's been probably more of a management focus based out of Invercargill here, which is primarily sales management. So I guess the reality is that it's that commercial background, it's those networks that you build up with local businesses and the like, and particularly I suppose a communication and a marketing background that I guess must have seen them nod in my direction.
All right, let's sort of look at the motivation for taking the job. Did you see this and think that's me, or were you sort of on the lookout for another challenge?
Well, it's funny, isn't it, the way it came about? It's probably surprised me a little bit as well, because I certainly wasn't looking for a job. I wasn't in the market for a job. I think the great thing and the fortunate thing for me is that I've been involved in an industry for 15, 16 years that I've loved, and continue to. But this was sort of put in front of me, or fell into my lap really, when I discovered it, and I thought to myself, I've never done a job interview before. Fell out of high school into a job, so I thought it's quite, from a professional development point of view, it's probably not a bad process to go through anyway. Bit frightening putting a CV together for the first time, I'd have to say. So that, I thought to myself it would be a good experience. But it's one of those roles, no question, that once you got into it, once I, got the mind ticking over, once I saw, did a bit of research, I suppose, and saw the opportunity and the type of work that the guys here are doing already, it very quickly turned into something that I knew I could actually, get passionate about and get stuck into. So it's all transpired. The planets have come into alignment. So yeah, very exciting.
Right, let's look at the state of cycling at the moment. They're in a very good position. A lot of sports struggling for funding, struggling for acknowledgement. Because of the velodrome and various other factors, it's growing at a great rate of knots, and that is actually the challenge, isn't it? It's sort of probably reining that in and steering it.
Yeah, it's right. I think the opportunity is twofold, I guess the tasks are almost in two camps. One, to consolidate that growth that they've had. Like you say, it's been an explosion really over the last couple of years, particularly on the back of obviously this ILT Velodrome, but also the great events that the Cycling Southland team have been putting on. So it's about consolidating that. Naturally, as organisations evolve, there are opportunities to do things better and smarter. So I guess that's phase one, and then secondly, it's uncovering new opportunities, coming up with new concepts, new ideas, new events and the like, to I guess keep that momentum going, because it's one thing to have an organisation that is riding a bit of a crest of the wave, like Cycling Southland and like biking nationally is doing, but when you've got that momentum, it's often the best time to keep the ball rolling, if you like. So there's, as I said, untapped potential, I guess, and the great thing as a potential candidate coming into this role is that it's an organisation that's got aspirations, that's not afraid to actually say, hey, listen, we can continue to grow, we can continue to do, keep raising the bar, I guess, and coming into it with an organisation that's set on that is, makes the task a bit easier, I guess.
History is littered with sporting organisations that have taken off, not taken advantage of their exposure and gone backwards. That'll be a key focus for you.
Yeah, it is, and when I talk about that consolidation, I think that is really important. I guess the term growing pains kind of comes to mind, or it can do for some, and you can probably quote a couple of examples. The Soccer World Cup, I guess, and the football has probably been the most one that given the All Whites' recent efforts, has been rekindled. So, but it is I'm sure they hate it being brought up time after time again, but it is a good example. It's all very well to build this wonderful facility, but you've got to continually evolve, and I suppose it's the same as any business, really. And it's not. I mean, sport primarily does have a real business focus these days, and has to. It's like any business; you've got to evolve with the market. What you did yesterday is not going to be enough for tomorrow. So that's the real opportunity for us to continue, I guess, to grow here at Cycling Southland.
And you can go forward with some confidence, because let's be realistic, another inside velodrome in New Zealand is not likely in the near future. So the events are going to come here without too much effort. Yeah,
I guess so, but you don't want to rest on your laurels there too. I think that's the opportunity. I don't think there's any doubt that in time, now you're right, it may be 5 to 10 years away, but that there is likely to be a North Island indoor velodrome, so we won't have that space to ourselves, but nor should we. I mean, the reality is if you're able to host the quality events that the team's been able to in the past, and undoubtedly will continue to do so, you've got to earn those on your merits. So that'll be, I guess, the ultimate litmus test, really, won't it? Where if there is another facility built, there's no doubt that it's a great advantage for the organisation to have this ILT velodrome, no doubt. So let's make the most of it while we've got that space to our own, but let's not rest on our laurels there, I guess.
You've probably touched on a couple of aspects of what your vision might be. I suppose they put that to the test, asked you what you see happening in the next 2 to 3 years. Can you foretell some things for us?
Well, I suppose I've got to get the feet under a desk first. That'll be the first thing. But look, it's a good opportunity, I guess, coming in, to be fair, from outside the cycling arena, to come in with some fresh views on things. I mean, I'm literally, it sounds cliched, but I'm in awe of the work that's actually been put together by this organisation, because when you look at the small team of staff that work so hard here, when you look at the executive, and obviously the huge group of members and volunteers that we've got, it's incredible, really, the amount of work that's been done. But I think, look, it's about uncovering new opportunities. I think. This facility obviously is the cornerstone of a lot of that, and I just see that, from cycling's point of view, that it's a sport and a recreation activity that lends itself so well to the modern society. It's got ticks the box for general health and well-being, so it's a healthy activity, it's a family activity, and we'll all know that we're busier now than ever in life, and so things that or activities that we can do with family, I think becomes really important. And I think it's more than a cycling facility as well. It's a real community facility. So there are some real themes like that, I think, around health and well-being, around families, and around community that we can kind of develop, I think, some good stuff around. So it's the great thing about it is that the world's really our oyster here in terms of what we want to achieve. So.
I imagine too there's a lot of relationship management for you, because there's the relationship with the rest of the stadium, obviously, with Bike New Zealand, and beyond to build up.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's relationships. I mean, that's the way, I guess, what any business lives and dies on, doesn't it? And you are right, particularly for a member-based organisation like Cycling Southland is. There's a real responsibility to I guess, and certainly it'll be a help from my point of view to seek as much input as I can, because ultimately, I will be needing my trainer wheels, to use the pun, I suppose, taken off, and some help in getting there over the early months. It'll be great to actually tap into what is a fantastic base there in terms of, I guess, getting me up to speed quickly as to what are the issues and how we can develop them best. But certainly in terms of communicating with a fairly diverse group as well, both in terms of members, in terms of sponsors, in terms of the likes of Bike New Zealand you talk about, Spark and etc. I mean, it's a many and varied group. That communication is going to be very important, absolutely.